What's up everybody and welcome to another Bedrock tutorial. Today we're going to talk about upgrading the furnace array or the rotating furnace array. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to call it the quantum furnace array. This could be considered version 3, but they're kind of more like add-ons since we don't really change the principal design of the furnace. So one of the first things I want to talk about is how to create a XP type of collection system for this furnace. This idea was presented to me by Daniel Esquivel, and what he did was run a redstone signal into the hoppers that would sit underneath of the system. This would lock up the hoppers, not allowing them to collect items from the furnaces above. That way you could collect XP from the furnaces. Now, this caused him to run the timing circuit outside of the furnace system itself. This would cause it to be twice as long, depending on which version you would build, whether it be the 5 length, the 15th, and so on. This can cause issues in Bedrock as if you're outside of a certain chunk distance, redstone stops working. So what I did was I ran the redstone signal out front and underneath the blocks. And I would put the redstone signal going into blocks underneath of the hoppers that would still lock the hoppers and cause the same effect. This allowed me to keep the timing circuit underneath of the furnace array system itself, even though I actually had to push it down a little bit further into the ground to be able to do so. So I ran a couple of tests since I haven't had that much of a chance to play with these kinds of XP farms. And the only thing I'm not too satisfied with this is, even though it's very possible, you can make this an XP farm, you're going to have a lot of furnaces to pull that XP out of, and a lot of smelting is going to have to happen in order to really make it worth it. So while it is a possible upgrade and it's totally up to you to use, it's probably not the best way to go about an XP farm. This may work a little bit better on the smaller version that was in the previous episode. Now, I also was talking to another fan of the smelting system. His name is Grim Savior, so big shout out to him. We had a nice long discussion on ways to make this more efficient. And he had ideas about, making this rotate a bit faster. And while that is possible, you kind of run into areas where making this rotate a little bit faster becomes not really a efficient thing, because then you're kind of limiting the amount of time for the items that go in and out of the furnaces. And then there's the potential bottleneck of actually how fast furnaces can smelt an item. So as we toss around ideas, I want to share some of the things I suggested to him in order to make this even better with all of you now. But first, let's go over some of the basics of this contraption. The idea started with having furnaces rotate in a circle in order to have items constantly flowing in and out of the furnaces so that there was always a fresh furnace capable of smelting things immediately. And as furnaces have 2 inputs and an output, we needed to create another contraption that would input the burnable item in at the top and another at the side. Then finally, of course, we needed a way to extract those smelted items out of the furnaces. And of course, because we have a repeatable pattern here with this smelter, we needed to use the mine carts that would transfer those items all the way down the 15 furnaces. Now, one thing that was always a part of my initial plan, and one thing that we had discussed, was making sure that the mine carts had enough items to fill up the furnaces. This is where the timing circuit came into play. Due to the nature of how mine carts travel across powered rails, there was no way of making the hoppers underneath pull more than one item out of those mine carts to be pushed into the furnaces. Knowing this, we could only put 15 items into the 15 furnaces on one trip down, and then make sure that the minecart still had an additional 15 items to be placed into the furnaces on its trip back to its starting position. Now, initially when I had built the first system, I was only using one hopper to fill up the minecart. One thing we also discussed was the difference between using top loading or side loading hoppers into the mine carts. There really is no difference in timing, and as you can see, I have a stack of an item in each of these chests up top. Now, the center one is an upgrade feature that I also suggested. It is utilizing both top loading hopper and a side loading hopper into the mine cart. What you're going to see here is that the items will flow into that mine cart twice as fast with the double input method than the ones on the outside, which only have either top or side loading hoppers. So a suggestion that I had made was use the side loading and top loading at the same time. It'll fill up that minecart in half the time that it does to fill up by just using one hopper alone or one input method alone. So as suggested, an additional feature which you may want to include is the double input method on the chests which are loading the system with fuel and burnable items. But the discussion didn't stop there. We only have one input for fuel and one input for the burnable item. There's a downward and upward spin to this system, so if we are filling it on the downward spin, how about we also fill it on the upward spin? But in order to do so, I had to reset the rotation in a way that in its resting position, it would have two furnaces resting at the top instead of just one. This would then double the efficiency of the system as a whole. But with the limited space that I had up top, I couldn't use the double hopper system for the minecarts. Instead, I had to have a double chest feeding both minecart rails at the same time, which was pretty much the same result. This still provided for about a stack of items being fed into furnaces at one time. And because we now have double the amount of items going into the system at once, I had to find a way to get those items out just as fast. So I ran another line of hoppers in the center of the rotation that would pull from the top and extract it into the storage area below. And as a side note, and something I'll probably mention later on as well, you cannot use the XP lock for this system if you run a line of hoppers in the center of this contraption. The reason being is that it defeats the purpose. There's nothing possible or able to lock those lines of hoppers in the center of the rotation. So no matter what, items will be pulled through the system, which will cause you to lose that XP. By the way, it is possible to have the double input method on the minecarts up top for the burnable items. I'm just not a fan of making this a little bit wider, which is what would happen if you do want to do this. Also, you would have another chest where you would have to place burnable items into, which just makes it seem like more work, but it's really not that bad. So as a demonstration, I'm going to put 2 stacks of raw cod into the top here. It's going to equally distribute them into these minecart hoppers, or these minecart chests up here. This is going to feed the system up top. And then I already have plenty of fuel in this system. I think actually most of these are still full. Yeah, they've got scaffolding. I recommend using scaffolding for this. You can use bamboo. I know a lot of people want to use bamboo for this. And if you really want to use bamboo, this is what I'm talking about. You're going to have to extend those fuel lines out even further, and you're going to have more of them. Bamboo will only burn a quarter of an item, which means you will need to have at least 4 pieces of bamboo in that furnace. You may even have to have more just in case, because bamboo burns really quick. So you'll have to extend these fuel lines out further. You have the original line of hoppers right there in the back, and then you have these extra additional lines for each piece of bamboo that's being run into those furnaces. And this is not something that I'd really like to do, just because you run into the issue of how you're going to power them. This is how it would be done. You just wouldn't be able to utilize that inner row of hoppers. And then of course you have to rework where these observers would go, and of course the bottom as well, because you will have a collision of where the original location was for the observers and the redstone torches messing with how this bottom area is being powered. So you really have to kind of rework up the system just a little bit, and just it makes it so much wider and, well, in my opinion, just a little bit uglier. I don't recommend bamboo. I would say just stick to scaffolding, especially because scaffolding will burn 22 items on one piece of scaffold. It's just such a better fuel source. So we have the items in the minecarts here. You can see that they're equally distributed. And this is going to basically be turned off here. It's going to send a pulse through. It's going to send out the minecarts, and it's going to then rotate the system. What it's doing is it's going to fill up. It's going to fill up the minecarts here, and it should fill up the minecarts with enough items to feed the hoppers on the trip down and on the trip back. And then it's going to rotate. As you can see, it's going to burn the items. And if we go over here to our chest, you can just see that it is just filling the chest at such a rapid pace. So it's quickly providing you with your items. So this is a nice, quick, and efficient system. Okay, so to build this, what you're going to need is a stack of furnaces, plus 11 more furnaces, 60 pistons, regular ones, 12 chests, regular chests. You can use trap chests if you'd like to. 14 observers, 8 redstone torches, 2 levers, a stack of hoppers, 52 more hoppers, 64 powered rails, 7 more powered rails, 1 detector rail, 4 regular rails, 51 redstone repeaters, 1 stack of redstone dust, plus 49 more pieces of redstone dust, a stack of blocks, 55 more blocks, and these can be any of your choice, 26 slabs, any of your choice, 4 minecart chests, 2 pieces of scaffolding, 3 item frames, and 1 item of your choice to represent the burnable item. You can also use signs to label your chest. These 3 items are basically to label your chest. Right, so to start building this, what you're gonna do is place down a row of 15 regular pistons facing upwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then you're gonna put some blocks out here up on the front. You're gonna put 15 of those. This is gonna be a lot of repetition, a lot of 15. Okay, so once you have those blocks down, what you're gonna do is dig out some dirt here or some grass or whatever block is underneath you, and you're gonna dig out the space underneath this. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and eventually you're also going to dig out a 3 by 3 by 15 space behind the pistons as well. So you're gonna dig out all of this stuff like so, and that's basically just going to give you a little bit more visibility for what's gonna go on underneath. All right, so come to the backside now. What you're gonna do is temporarily place a hopper right there, and then just put down 15 hoppers going all the way down to the other end, and they should all be going into each other, just like that. You can remove this hopper now because it's not needed at the moment. And then you're gonna wanna come down here, so maybe dig out a little stairway so that you can get back out. Grab your regular blocks and put those underneath of the hoppers. All right, grab your redstone repeaters. You're gonna place those going into those blocks that you just placed underneath of those hoppers, and they can stay on 1 tick. Now it's up to you, but you can use some of those blocks to make this area just a little bit more prettier. So grab those, line them up like this, not like that, like this. 15 blocks, grab some redstone dust, place it on top of those, just like that, and you're going to actually put another block right here, and that's where you're gonna put your lever. There we go. And this feature right here is completely optional. It's totally up to you to do this or not. If you don't want to include that, that is going to be eliminated. All of these blocks, the hoppers, all that stuff can be eliminated. You don't have to have it if you don't want that feature. So now you're gonna wanna grab some furnaces, and you're gonna put down 15 on top of the hoppers right here. You can put down 15 on top of the pistons. And then put 15 down on top of those as well. Just like that. Grab some chests. You're gonna place down 3 double chests, like this. Here we go. Grab some more hoppers, and you're going to place the hoppers going into those chests. And by the way, if you are going to build this lockout system for XP, do not place a hopper line on the inside here. Do not place this here. If you are going to use the double extraction method, which is this, you can't build this because it kind of contradicts each other. The system cannot hold on to the items if they're being pulled out of this line here, centralized through the system, because nothing will be able to lock this out. So if you do build this lockout, do not build this centralized area here. So you're gonna have a exit area here and an exit area here for everything that is flowing through the furnaces. So with that hopper line in place, you can now actually add the back side, which is gonna be another row of 15 furnaces like this. Here we go. And the last row of 15 furnaces up on top of these hoppers. I missed one. There we go. The front piston here is going to actually go towards the back. We already have the lower line, which is pushing them upwards. Now we have to have them pushed back. So we're gonna place all these pistons right here, like so, all the way down. Then for the back here, you're gonna have the pistons going downwards. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. Stay rather close here. So another row of pistons, 15, pointing downwards. And for the last one, you're gonna have those facing backwards. So I'm going to just place 2 like this, and then like that, right? Okay, that looks good. So 15 pistons pushing towards the front now. All right, and now you can kind of see that rotation happening a little bit better. Up, back, down, to the front. So for the front here, you're going to place down blocks on top of these pistons here. And for the back here, you're going to place blocks right here for these pistons. And then, of course, for these pistons here, you're going to put down blocks next to them on the outside, just like that. Now, on the back half here, this is considered just the rotational side. I'm going to put slabs right here coming off each of these blocks. And I'm going to put redstone dust on the full blocks all the way down. So 15 pieces of redstone dust for each of these blocks on the front and up on top. Now we're going to need something to power these these lines of redstone. So you're going to grab some repeaters, place them on each of these slabs, and you're going to put them on 4 ticks, just like this. Go. All right. This may be a good time to maybe remove these furnaces from here, because they're really not going to help you out down here. And what you're going to want to do is actually place them down up here on top, because it's just going to make it so much easier to place down the hoppers up here. All right, so you're going to put down hoppers going into each of those furnaces like this. And then another one on top of these here. And these will be for the rails, which are going to give the furnaces its burnable item. Okay, and for the front here, what you're going to do is actually place down hoppers in front of each of these furnaces, just like this. 15 more. And what you're noticing is we won't be able to run a minecart on top of these because of the pistons resting up on top. So what you're going to do is put down 15 more hoppers, which are going into the first row that you place down. On the back half, you're going to do the same thing for these furnaces here. Just put down 15 hoppers. And you're also going to put down slabs right next to those hoppers there. You're also going to place down a slab here. You're going to place down an observer right next to that one, because that's going to be our activation. And then you're going to grab some full blocks. So let's grab a full block from here. And you're going to place down one here, one there, and one right there. Then you're going to go out one more, up. You're going to do that for this one here, that one there, and out and up on that one too, because those are for our rails. Underneath, what you're going to do is put down a redstone torch there, a redstone torch here, another one here, and another one there. That's going to power these blocks, which are actually going to power all of these redstone rails. Now you're noticing that the redstone torch is only powering it about halfway down. So what you're going to do is grab a block, a full block, and you're going to place it right next to that powered rail there with a redstone torch on its side. It's not affecting the redstone below it, but it is powering the rest of the rails all the way down. So you can actually grab a powered rail here, place a powered rail all the way down to this side, and you can now figure out where to place down the next block and 2 to power up the powered rails that are going to be sitting underneath of them. On the front of the system, you're also going to put down more powered rails all the way down, and you're going to see that we have the same situation here. So you're going to just grab a block here and place down a redstone torch right there so it powers the rest of those rails up. And then you're going to grab your one detector rail and you're going to place it right on top of that observer up here. That's what's going to be what causes the system to rotate and activate. Every time that minecart comes all the way down here, it's going to pulse it, sending a signal through the observer and turning the system on for the rotation. So you're going to grab a slab, place it there, get another one, and just place it all the way down to the side of that rail there. You're going to put a redstone signal right there, another one here with a repeater right here. You're going to put that on 4 ticks with a piece of redstone dust right here. It's not actually powering up this rail. What's going to happen is you're going to grab another observer. You're going to place it facing downwards so that it will power this repeater. So you're going to put down a piece of redstone dust right there. And by the way, depending on which direction you're building this in, that one didn't give me any issue because it's facing that kind of direction. This one's facing the opposite way, so I have to actually destroy this, remove that, place a block here, place the powered rail here, and now I can actually place that one there. Because if I don't, and and I place it down, that happens. They want to line up in one specific direction, so let's get rid of that. Place that back there, place this here, and now we have them both kind of nicely tucked away right there. So let's put this back there as well. Just keep that in mind. You may run into that depending on which direction you're building this. All right, so we have the redstone that is now leaving here. We have to get this over to the other side now. So what's going to happen is we're going to place down another observer right there. We're going to grab a half slab or a slab with a full block, and then we're going to place down, let's see, we're going to want to put down another block here, a block there, or even just a slab. And we're going to grab more observers, which will come down this way. So 3 right there, and then another slab here. So you're going to put down redstone dust on top of this observer. You're going to put down a repeater facing that way on 4 ticks, redstone dust, redstone dust, redstone dust going into that repeater, and a piece of redstone dust going on top of that observer, which will then pulse the signal all the way down to here, where it will light up this piece of redstone dust and light up this repeater. And then what you're going to do is bring this over to here. You're going to put down a piece of redstone dust here with a redstone repeater here on 4 ticks like that. Redstone dust, redstone dust, redstone dust. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually place down 2 blocks right here. I'm going to grab the lever, and I'm going to place that right there next to the outermost chest here. Turn it on. As you can see, it's on with the redstone dust there. I'm going to remove these 2 blocks here and just place down some of this nice smooth stone block, just because I like to keep things clean and really show where the redstone is going. So I'm going to place down 2 redstone pieces of dust there on top of those blocks. You don't have to do that again with the blocks. You can keep it grass if you like, but I like to show it off. So that's what it's going to look like. And then I'm going to grab, let's see, some repeaters here. So let's grab one of those, and we're going to then place down 1, 2, 3 redstone dust, 1, 2, 3 redstone dust, 1, 2, 3 redstone dust, 1, 2, and 3. Oh, I must have miscounted. All right, we're going to dig this out a little bit further. You can actually create a little stairway here too if you want to exit on this side as well. And then you're going to put down 1 redstone dust, redstone dust. This one's going to be on 4 ticks. 1, 2, 3 redstone dust. 1, 2, 3 redstone dust. 1, 2, 3 redstone dust. 1, 2, 3. And you can see that the flow of things is it's going that way all the way down to the end where the rotation is going, and then all the way back up for this signal. And I'll explain what's going to happen here in just a moment. So right now, really quick, you have the timing laid out. Now you actually have to put down the timing. And the way that's going to work is you're going to put the first repeater on 4 ticks. The center repeater is going to go on 3 ticks, and the last repeater is going to go on 4 ticks. These 3 repeaters set up like this is going to create a 1-second delay. So you're going to do that for each of these 3 sets, or sets of 3, I should say. 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4. All right, awesome. And I'm going to remove these 2, place down some nice, more visual blocks that we can see clearly and stuff. And you can put lighting down here if you want. If you see I have some sea lanterns here just to make sure that nothing spawns down here, you can put torches, glowstone, whatever you like. It's just a way to kind of keep things from spawning down here. All right, so the circuit is now set up for timing. Now we actually have to make sure that this reaches the minecarts. And so I'm going to put down 1, 2 blocks. I'm going to put down another block here and another block there. And what's going to happen is we are going to put down a repeater right here on 4 ticks. Get some redstone dust. That's going to go that way. So 2 pieces of redstone dust here, another one here, and another one right there. Okay, so to set up the minecarts now, we're going to put down a slab here, a slab on both of those, and a slab right there coming off of those rails. We're also going to put a full block here and another one at an angle. You're going to do that for each of those, so let's do that like that. Angle up some blocks. Perfect. And then what you're going to do is grab 4 more powered rails. You're going to put one here, one here. We're going to probably have to do that weird thing again. So let's actually do this. Oops. Okay, so like that. There we go. And there we go. And put that powered rail there. Grab some regular rails now, because that's going to prevent our things from constantly activating. Put one there, put one here, put one there, and another one right there. So now we have a powered rail being separated by a single regular rail right here where they're going to rest. So now we should be able to put down these powered rails, there we go, all the way down. And our system is complete for those. And now with that out of the way, we're going to grab some more hoppers. And we're going to put down one on the side, right there. And then we're going to try and put one down on the side here. And then up on top. So you have one that's going down from the top and then another one for the side. You can't really do that here because you have the interruption of where these chests are going to go. So you're just going to do 2 on top and it'll equally distribute the items just as well. You're going to put down one going onto the side and onto the top of that one too. So let's check. Yep, they're going sideways. Okay, great. So you can grab more chests, put a double chest right here, double chest right up on here, double chest right there, and that's awesome. Then we can grab our minecarts with a chest, put it right there in its resting position, and you're going to get that happen for these that are right next to each other up on top here. But when it comes back, it should rest nice and compact like that. So we're going to put the last one right there. And you heard the system activate. So if we check, everything is in the position that we want it to be. So everything is looking good. We don't have anything being pushed out. It looks really, really great. Okay, so for the labelization of the chest, you can put down signs with words or whatever you'd like. I'm going to put down item frames like so. And these outer ones are going to be for fuel. So I'm going to put down scaffolding. And this one up here is for burnable items. And I'm just going to put a piece of raw chicken in there. And what I'm going to need is an observer. I think we're going to place one down right here. We're going to place down 3, which should go up. We're going to grab some slabs. And that's going to go there. And then this one's going to go this way. And we're going to place a repeater going into that block. You can put it on 4 ticks. That one's going to go there on 4 ticks. And then you're going to place redstone dust. And 2 more that'll go into the repeaters like that. Now we have to activate this up here though. So we're going to place down a piece of redstone dust here with an observer right there with a slab that's going to go right here. We're going to grab another repeater, place it down right there on 4 ticks, and 3 more pieces of redstone dust like so. That'll power these 2 blocks, which will send these minecarts out. So if I were to turn this off, it's going to send a pulse through that observer. You can see it sent down all of the minecarts, right? They're not there anymore. Perfect. And we're getting the rotation, right? So that works great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty this out. We're going to grab a couple of stacks there of scaffolding. And then I'm going to grab a couple of stacks of food. Where is it? All right, so ideally what you're going to want to do is fill up the chest before you turn it on, but I'm going to do this so that you guys can see how much is being filled as the minecarts are actually moving. So I'm going to put 2 in this one, I'm going to put 2 scaffolding over in here on this one, and I'm going to put all the chicken down on this one. So they're going to go down. They didn't get enough this time around. That's usually what's going to happen when you first turn on the system. And I'm going to look into this chest. Now we can see before they shoot out, they've got already 1 trip down. 30 will mark the double trip. So they're filling up close to a double trip. So they'll probably stop feeding this furnace here on its way back. You can create more second delays if needed by just simply moving this out a little bit further and putting down another set of seconds if you want it to fill completely on the way down and on the way back. And you can see that the furnaces are lighting up. This one probably emptied out already. This one's, I'm looking at the hopper there. Oh, that one's still burning. Yeah, so this is working great. And then as you can see, we have this working here as well. Now, originally I had the single chest here, it's really awesome because this has the central line now, and you can actually just build a little bit more storage here. You can actually feed this out to a storage system or an item sorter or whatever the case may be. The storage of this system is completely up to you depending on your needs, but this is just a nice compact example of what you can do with storage for this furnace. And this stuff just pours in. So this is a really good way of updating this furnace array. Personally, myself, if you don't want to use so much resources in building this furnace, I would actually just eliminate this front way here, get rid of this. That way you get rid of all this. You can get rid of this line now, and then you can get rid of all of these hoppers that are sitting out front here. You don't need that either. And get rid of this one, and that way that'll stay there for the timing. Then you can get rid of all of these hoppers, like so. You get a little bit more visual on the front here. It's not perfectly flat because of the rotation direction that it's going. If you noticed before, it was flat in the previous version. This one isn't because of the rotation. You can use the previous model rotation if you're not going to use the double up system with the rail here. And let's see, we don't need this one either, so I'm going to get rid of this line. So this is just a way to save up on resources. So that's just a way that you can still build this system, still have it be super efficient, and just save a little bit on resources. So you still have 2 lines, one for fuel, one for items, and you have the double hopper system, which is filling up the minecarts twice as quickly, or twice as efficiently. So yeah, this is the version 3, or just upgrades to the version 2 quantum furnace array. Hope you guys like this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments field below. I'd be super eager to hear about you. I love hearing from you guys. And thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much for liking this furnace array system. It's really something that's been taken off and getting a lot of popularity. So thanks again. If you got any questions, seek help, and I'll see you all later.